This is David with Advanced Compliance. Let's take a look at the results from the daylighting acceptance testing video series for a closed loop sensor. Here's a breakdown of the light meter readings from the acceptance test we did. We used the format that Bob from the AATT channel uses to log all of his daylighting readings. So thank you, Bob, for giving us this same format so we could keep track of all of our illuminance readings. The first test we did was the full output illuminance. We overrode the daylighting sensor and we came up with 62 foot candles at a reference location. Our reference location was determined by the distance method. Then we put the daylight sensor back into normal operating conditions, took another reading under no daylight condition, for this is the no daylight test, and we came up with a reference illuminance of 62 foot candles, which is the same as our full output illuminance. So now we know we have a full output system. The system has not been task tuned. The next test we did was the full daylight test. The full daylight test has to be performed when you have daylight entering the space at your reference location that is greater than your reference illuminance. In the new 2019 code, it states that your full daylight condition, your full daylight number, needs to be greater than 150% of your reference illuminance. In this case, we would have to be above 93 foot candles, 150% of your reference illuminance. So in this case, 93 foot candles. We had 128.5 foot candles of daylight at our reference location. So it qualified for us to start this test. We turned off the electric lights, put our light meter down or kept our light meter in our reference location. We had 128.5 foot candles of daylight entering the space, so we're able to turn the lights back on. We turned our electric lighting back on at the area control. We only turned on the primary side-lit daylit zone. The secondary side-lit daylit zone and the general lighting remained off. So this reference illuminance is only from the primary side-lit daylit zone. Once we turned our electric lighting back on, we waited for the system to settle down, and we ended up with 131.5 foot candles of combined daylight. This is our daylight plus our electric light at our reference location. We subtracted out the daylight from our combined illuminance and ended up with 3 foot candles. So we had 3 foot candles of electric light at our reference location during our full daylight test. We divide the 3 foot candles by the full output illuminance right here, not by a reference illuminance. These numbers could be different if you have a task tuned system, but our system is full output, so we use the full output illuminance of 62 foot candles. We ended up with 4.8%. You look at the chart on the acceptance testing form, and that will give us 80% power reduction. In a full output system, you need at least a 65% reduction of power in order to pass the test. So we passed the full daylight test. The final test we did for our closed loop continuous dimming system was the partial daylight test. Now the partial daylight test needs to be conducted when there's 60 to 95% daylight entering the space at your reference location 60 to 95% of your reference illuminance, entering the space measured at your reference location. We had 47 foot candles of daylight entering the space. We had to achieve this by closing the blinds. The blinds were able to block out enough of the daylight that we were able to achieve 47 foot candles of daylight at our reference location. Once we had this number, we turned the electric lighting on and got a combined reading of electric light and daylight of 80.3 foot candles. Our combined reading has to be greater than 62 foot candles, but not to exceed, or actually it's 100 to 150% of our reference illuminance. So it'd be 62 foot candles up to 93 foot candles. So we were at 80.3 foot candles, which is 129% of our reference illuminance. So we passed our partial daylight test. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. And this video is made possible by viewers like you.